Hi, how y'all doing? It is October the 20th, 2025. Here in Ontario, Canada, skies are cloud covered. Still. Alright? It rained throughout the night. I went to sleep really easy. Well, not really easy. There was some noise outside and stuff. But it took me about an hour, and then I woke up at 3 o'clock for no reason and couldn't go back to sleep. So I got up and made a cup of tea and sat up until I got tired again, 5:30. And I laid down until 7. I'm exhausted, right? My feet started doing that twitching thing, wanting to cramp up. So, another reason why I didn't sleep. But it is what it is. I think I'd be getting used to it. It's been happening so long. I was sitting here. My son came home, he bought an electric drum kit. So he set that up. Got to talk to him and his girlfriend for a little bit while I was making dinner. And then she went home and we're sitting here. And it was just after dinner, and all of a sudden I hear a dog fight, right? And I heard somebody screaming. And I looked out the window and I didn't know who it was. Couldn't see anybody. So just sat down and waited, and then there's a knock on my door. So I go downstairs and answer the door, and it's my friend Tass. And she's livid, right? Screaming at the top of her lungs. The crackhead heads, we have a few of them down here, that live about 3-4 doors down that way, right? Friggin', I guess he's been letting out their pit bull without coming out on a leash. There's a lot of canines in my hood, right? And it attacked her dog. She was walking back from across the way, and she was walking up the lane, and I guess it was right beside my house off leash, and it attacked her Great Dane puppy. He's a year old, right? First time he's ever been attacked. And Tass lost it. She went over to tell him, to keep your dog on a leash. And he just started mouthing her off, calling her names, so she just laid into him. She was like, "Oh, you're a crackhead? I could play this game too," right? Because was a crackhead, but she's healed herself, right? And it's been quite a long time. I think she was like 16 years so far, right? So she just fed it verbally to him, right? He went to attack her son, who's about 17, right? Instead of dealing with her, and she stood right in front of her son and just roared at him, right? She was out there just screaming, right? About the crackhead. Me and my son laughed, right? Because it's what I do when it gets chaotic. And I said to her that what you should be doing right now, the most important thing to us, is go look at your dog and see if it's bleeding. See if it got hurt. That's your priority now. If it's bleeding, call the police and report it, right? But I think he came through it okay. She said that her son and his girlfriend looked and didn't see anything. So, yeah. Then the neighbor at the back said that the dog had attacked his dog too, that had been off leash, right? Like the crackhead's dog. Attacked his collie, right? So, yeah, about half an hour or 20 minutes after that happened, he gets in his room car, right? It's really noisy, the muffler thing, and takes off up the road, right? And we were like, oh, he's going to hide his stash because he thinks she's going to phone the police on him, right? And he stayed away until like it got late, you know what I mean? And then he crept his little car back, not making noise at all this time, right? So I thought, okay. And then as we were going to bed, about a half an hour after, my son heard somebody try the front door of the house. This has been going on for years, right? I always lock my door because somebody tries to open it in the middle of the night and throughout the day, right? And he runs down, opens the door, and says, "Since you want it in so bad, the door is open. Come on in," right? And he was screaming, right? You see my friend Tass peek her head out of her, or come outside of her unit, because she's on the watch. She's like, she's going to make a scene every time she sees them out there now, right? Especially if the dog's off the leash. So I said, go ahead, you know? crackheads are paranoid. They be hiding all the time. That's why he went and hid his stuff, right? But yeah, they never come out of the house anyway. That's what these drugs do to these people, right? What a messed up life, right? They're not willing to heal their trauma. They just cover up with drugs, right? And think it's better. And meanwhile, they're just making themselves sicker mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, right? And then they hide. They get scared and they hide, right? Because what they're doing to themselves is so strange. But this is what unhealed people do, I suppose. They're not willing to face their own demons, shall we say? Although demons not real, but they're aliens, right? Did you know that I was listening to Karimio, a whole, right? Read a book today that, and it was how the colonists, the pilgrims, all those people that came over to America, what they did to the ancestors, my ancestors, right? Melanated people's ancestors. They created the United States Army military just to off the indigenous Indians here, the melanated, not the right. Those are the slaves of the Spanish, you know. Some aren't because they helped the ancestors, right? Like my ancestors that were part of the Underground Railroad and down in Toronto area, right? In my family story, it tells how we helped them escape through the Underground Railroad, right? The ones that didn't want to be slaves that they brought over decided they didn't want to off all the people here, the copper colored people. But yeah, they're adopted, right, by the tribes. There's two of everything. So yeah, that's why they created the army. You know what I mean? They even forced melanated people that they had taken and put into prisoner of war into the army to fight their own people, right? Because you know what happens if you don't, right? Bang, bang, you know, or kind of thing. They were quite cruel. And now they think they own it, right? They'll be walking around. My grandfather's had this farm for 200, 300 years, right? But they were nobody before they came over here and stole the ancestors' land. Just saying. All right? They'll be high and mighty. Not in my book, so I see the realm in a different way. The Schuman was the Schuman was 11 yesterday. So it went down a bit from the day before, right? The day before that it was 35. I have no idea what it is today. It hasn't been posted. My ears are ringing. They've been ringing all night. They haven't stopped. So yeah. Seen all kinds of birds in my tree in the rise. First was a little chickadee. Then that bigger bird that looks like a chickadee. It's just got a longer pecker, right? A beak, you know, but it's the same color. It showed up. I don't know what it is. And then two beautiful blue jays, a female and a male, right? She took off, but he stuck around the tree for a while. So, loss of communication maybe. I'm hoping not today. I'm exhausted. I just was gonna lay down and see if I could have a nap. But I thought I'd make a video for you first before I did that, because by the time I get up, my son will probably be home. And then I wouldn't want to, right? I don't know why. What do they call that? When you get nervous of going on stage. Maybe that's what it is. Although I shouldn't be concerned about that at all now, should I? So yeah. Nice interruption. I don't want to be interrupted while I'm doing this. So yeah. It is really weird energy. It has been since I woke up at 3 in the middle of the night. It's like a quiet, stale, integrating energy. Probably stabilizing after the high Schuman spikes and the CMEs and solar flares, right? We're still waiting for the big one. I just seen a little video. It was saying that there's an anomaly down in an ocean. It keeps on getting bigger and bigger, right? Who knows in this realm? I'm not even gonna guess, right? Probably has something to do with that Atlas energy, you know? No sun. It's supposed to clear up around 3 though, and be clear overnight. So it'll take some of the pressure off. Other than that, Ascension symptoms, I'm exhausted. My feet are icky, tension, my spine a little bit, right? Ringing in the ears. Not too terrible. Could be worse. Especially since I didn't sleep well. That usually flares up the fibromyalgia in my body, right? But I'm handling it pretty good today, I guess. Alright, that's all I got to say. We're in the new moon, I believe. Well, according to Katrina Bless on YouTube, it is the dark moon. It's not the new moon for 3 days until we see the little slit of white around the moon. Alright, so if that's the case, it gives you 3 days to set new intentions, new beginnings, you know what I mean? Reset your body. I don't like putting R-E in front of a word because R-E means no in front of a word, right? But just so I can get the message over, I'll use it. Just like D-E, all kinds of stuff. They really messed up language. Most words don't mean what we think they do. Like the word it even. But yeah. It is what it is. For now. Until things get flipped. Until they switch. Did you hear of a Black Swan event? Tom Numbers on YouTube said it was going to happen on the weekend. I haven't heard of anything. Alright? I've not heard of a thing. I seen a thing on Facebook though. The indigenous natives in Canada has signed or got the government to sign this thing saying that their land's being returned. So people are losing their homes because they're on native land. Or indigenous. They don't say native, indigenous land. Which would be the melanated ancestors, right? And their adopted natives. Slaves of the conquistadors, right? The Mongols, Huns, Vedics. So they're working for us anyway, for the melanated tribes. It's just what has to be done. That's why it was part of the conjure of them going to Indian school to teach them how to be like the melanated people, our culture, our dances, right? Give them some soul. And they are just doing what the melanated people are too hesitant to do because of the way they've been treated in the past. You couldn't talk or you got put under, right? They weren't allowed to teach each other how to read anything, couldn't talk about your culture. If you got caught, they took you, right? So then the native tribes learned the culture and stuff. Not sure which one of the elders taught them, but somebody did. And now they speak for us. Just like how the paleface speaks for the melanated ones in the United States. Alright? I know you probably don't understand, but you'll find out. You shall see, right? You'll see. I wouldn't say it if I didn't know it was fact. So, yeah. All right. My ears are ringing so loud. I'm just going to lay down and see if I can have a nap. Set new intentions. I am going to have a nap. Okay. Every day I'm stronger than the day before. Every day I have more wisdom than the day before. Every day I have more gratitude than the day before. I love you all to consciousness. Enjoy this night or day. Okay? Okay. Oh, I wanted to finish that thought. When my son went outside and yelled, right? Held the door open and said, whoever was doing it, come on in, you want in, the door's open, come in, right? And nobody showed up. He came back up to the house and he was quite hot about it, right? Because this has been happening since we moved in here. And I said, what did you say? And he told me. I said, yeah. I said, that's the ticket, right? I said, they're safer outside than they are if they came in the house. He goes, I know, Mom. That's the point, right? I was like, yeah. Funny people, right? All right. Bye.